welcome. I'm finishing my day of work. It's about a little 4:15, something like that. My work day is done. What a day it was, too. I really had a good day. By noon, I had completed 2 weeks worth of work in one morning. It really felt good. Felt like I was on my game this morning for a change. More and more, I don't feel like I'm quite at the fore, even though I know I am. I know that at this point in my career, things are good. I can do my job well. Yet my capacity seems to be faltering and diminishing. My ability to just like an athlete, getting older, not quite up to it. Hey there, hi, Adrizo Rizi. I hope I'm saying it right. Hi there. So the day is done, and it's time for my swim. So I thought I'd turn the camera on. Yeah, I'm doing great. I had a great day at work today, and just really rejuvenated me. Made me really feel like I could still do this career. Yeah, I'm going for a swim now. So I'll turn this camera on. You're asking me do I have a suit swim? Yep, it's time for my swim. I'll just leave this running. Pile this. Oh, let me get my gear. Got my fins. Whew, what a day. There we go, that's good enough. Okay. Oh yeah, you'll see me ahead underwater. I'm on my way. All right, I'm gonna go for a swim. Talk to y'all later. Wow, strong current out there today. Little too much for my body to do. Continue reading Boswell's Presumptuous Task, The Making of the Life of Samuel Johnson. He returned to Auschwitz on 15th of August, where he found a long letter from Malone full of news, including gossip about the recent Westminster re-elections. There we go, that's better. About the recent Westminster re-elections, an election of 1784, in which the society beauty Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire, was said to have kissed even the most humble voters in order to ensure a victory for the Whig opposition leader Charles James Fox, because Westminster had such a much larger electorate than other constituencies. Elections there were regarded as significant indicators of public opinion and always closely contested. Courtney had been active in canvassing for the opposition candidate, who had once again been successful. Malone had rented a country house near Cobham in Surrey, while his London home was being redecorated. He invited Boswell to join him there when he returned to London, but warned, "If you do not bring up the life complete, expect no mercy." Boswell replied a month later, admitting that he had done nothing to Dr. Johnson's life, literally nothing, not a single line since arriving in Scotland. He pleaded the excuse that he had been preoccupied with the state business and local politicking. "I see that the whole will be of London manufacture," he wrote, and promised to set myself doggedly, a Johnsonian phrase, to the task when he returned, to the exclusion of all else. He even offered to give up wine until the book was done. This was too much for Courtney, who replied in staccato style from Coburn Park, urging Boswell not to think of doing such a thing. "If you do, your Life of Johnson will resemble Sir J. Hawkins." On the same sheet of paper was a brief greeting from Malone's Irish friend Robert Jefferson, and a longer letter from Malone. "Your neglect of Johnson's life is only what I expected," wrote Malone. "Scotland is not the place for it." On 26th of October, 1788, Boswell arrived back in London. He brought with him his two sons, whom he planned to place once again in English schools, so that they might have the benefit of an English education and, more importantly, acquire English accents. Margaret remained at Auschwitz. At first, Boswell was nervous and gloomy. "This dreary distance is terrible," he wrote to his wife. He continued to be extremely concerned about her health. When, only a fortnight after he had left Scotland, a letter arrived from Auschwitz sealed in black wax, he feared the worst. He was almost afraid to open it, which he did with great agitation. Then he saw Margaret's handwriting inside, and he fervently thanked God. The relief was such that he was able to bear the reproaches the letter contained, as his reply demonstrated. "Sensible as I am of conduct which I do sincerely blame, that I can scarcely believe it is to be true, and of which I have repented most seriously and with vexation of mind, I cannot but think it hard that the regard which I express should be doubted, or rather not credited, when I am sure that Notwithstanding many culpable deviations, there was never a more lasting attachment, more true esteem, or more tender love. He had confessed to his affair with Mrs. Rood months before, while his wife was still with him in London. Now that he had returned there without her, she feared that it might resume. The creature to whom you allude, he insisted, was totally dismissed from my attention. Despite Boswell's assurances, Margaret remained suspicious, and 4 months later, he found it necessary to reassure her that what I am truly sensible was a very bad idea, what I am truly sensible was very bad indeed, was totally at an end. He affirmed his continuing devotion to her in letter after letter. One happy circumstance I can mention, he informed Margaret after they had been apart 5 months, which is that I have all this time been free from any such folly as I look back on with regret. Boswell had decided that he needed to be in London at least 1 more year, and after much searching, he took a small house in Queen Anne Street, West, just off Cavendish Square. The rent was £50 per annum. The new address was convenient for Malone, who lived only a short walk distant in Queen Anne Street East. His younger son, James, returned to the school he had been attending in Soho Square, while Boswell organized private tuition for his heir, Alexander Sandy, whom he planned to send to Eton in due course. Once settled in London, Boswell began to work furiously on his book, hoping to have it done by Christmas. He had now reached almost the end of the first draft. One remaining problem was to decide how to treat undated memorabilia of Johnson supplied by Langton and others. Langton was one of Boswell's most important sources for the life, and many of the bon mots and anecdotes of Johnson's that he had given Boswell were now scattered separately throughout the narrative, in places where they seemed to belong chronologically, or where they served to illustrate a particular point Boswell was making. But there remained more than 20 pages of Langston's Johnsonia without an obvious place. Boswell decided to use this collection en bloc to fill a gap in his text for the year 1780, when he had been unable to come to London himself, and therefore lacked a journal of Johnson's conversations. He placed the mass of anecdotes provided by the Reverend William Maxwell to fill the year 1770, another for which he had no record of his own. Boswell admitted in his Life of Johnson that he had rewritten some of these sayings of Johnson's into what he considered the authentic Johnsonian style. Much of this guesswork in trying to decide what Johnson might actually have said, Boswell had to reconcile. Much of this was guesswork. In trying to decide what Johnson might actually have said, Boswell had to reconcile the text he had been given with the style of the man he knew. After so many years of recording Johnson's conversation, he was familiar with its peculiarities. He had used this faculty time and again to make up blanks in his memory while writing up his journal. Boswell had spent so much time with this subject that the forms of Johnson's speech, perhaps even the patterns of his thought, were deeply imprinted on the younger man's mind. It is amazing how a mimic can not only give you the gestures and voice of the person whom he represents, but even what a person would say on any particular subject. He had reflected on one occasion to Johnson, who remained skeptical. Though Boswell had known Johnson very well indeed, there were sides to the man that were always hidden from him. Johnson's behavior when alone with a woman, for example. And knowing Boswell's reverence for him, Johnson presented a more solemn figure to the earnest young man than he sometimes did when Boswell was absent. The way that Johnson spoke when Boswell was present was not the way that he always spoke. Johnson was aware that Boswell was recording what he said, and this knowledge in itself may have influenced the way that he talked.
when they were together. Boswell was steeped in Johnson's writings, and these were another tool in helping him to recapture what Johnson might have said. But written prose is different from speech, so that in recreating what Johnson had said, there was a tendency to make it more measured, more sonorous. Take care, Will. And more impressive than it had been in reality. And to emphasize in rhetorical aspects, for example, his habit of beginning a sentence with "sir."
Yeah.
That's a part of Johnson that's deep inside of me, is the use of "sir" for everything. Sir! Johnson's manner of speaking eventually became something of a caricature, easily imitated. Yeah, it's true, even I can try to do it. Boswell noticed that Johnson seemed to take a pleasure in speaking in his own style. Boswell noticed that Johnson seemed to take a pleasure in speaking in his own style. When Johnson caught himself carelessly missing it, he would repeat the thought translated into a more rounded, pronounced sentence. Wait a minute, what? Johnson's manner of speaking eventually became something of a caricature, easily imitated. Boswell noticed that Johnson seemed to take a pleasure in speaking in his own style. When Johnson caught himself carelessly missing it, the style, the contrived style, he would repeat the thought translated into a more rounded, pronounced sentence. Oh, how does he know that? Commenting on a play he first observed, it has not wit enough to keep it secret, and then corrected what he had said to, it has not vitality enough to preserve it from putrefaction. Now that's the Johnson we know, or at least the caricature of the man, right? There was an element of self-parody in this, of course. As he became famous, Johnson developed an ironic attitude towards his own celebrity. Much of this was lost on Boswell. While he labored on his manuscript, Boswell drew on yet another source of Johnsonian material, his own memory. He had astonishing powers of recall. A quarter of a century after an evening which he remembered, after an evening when he had walked arm in arm with Johnson in Greenwich Park, I remember that. He remembered that it had been so cold as to make him shiver, and much else besides, enough to fill 4 new paragraphs. Throughout the book, he was able to add, I remember that passage when he wrote that in the book. Throughout the book, he was able to add details which he had failed to record in his journal at the time. His journal in Holland, which had begun with his departure from London together with Johnson for the coast, had been lost. But with the help of his surviving rough notes, he found that he was able to construct a lively narrative of their journey to Harwich, containing some dramatic scenes and characteristic dialogue. I know, I read it. In this case, the act of writing his journal had helped to preserve events in his memory, even though the journal itself had gone missing 25 years before. Boswell had never written up the part of his journal covering the famous dinner on 15th of May, 1776, at which he had introduced Johnson to Wilkes. His only record of the occasion was some brief notes, but he drew on these more than a dozen years later to produce an account of approximately 4,000 words, a scene as entertaining as any in the life of Johnson. Back in November, at a dinner in Windsor, the king had risen from his chair, seized the Prince of Wales by the collar, and dashed him against the wall. For some weeks before this, he had exhibited alarming symptoms, both physical and psychological. Now it was no longer possible to conceal that he was seriously ill. Rumors began to sweep London that the king was dead or insane. His doctor, the same Sir George Baker who had attended Margaret Boswell, reported that his patient was rambling, foaming at the mouth, preoccupied by strange delusions and prone to uncontrollable convulsions. His behavior was bewildering, distressing, occasionally indecent. More doctors were called, and the king was subjected to a variety of painful and humiliating treatments. Often he needed to be restrained. It was clear that he could take no further part in public life unless his condition improved. On 10 November, Boswell heard a report that the king was dead, and he spent much of the day anxiously inquiring in various places whether the rumor was true. He learned that the king was alive, thank God, but delirious, with only a faint hope of recovery. Some say that the disease is dropsy, some that it is a severe nervous fever. The queen is in the most miserable distress. You cannot imagine, he wrote to Margaret, how much real concern there is here amongst all but the opposition party. The king's illness opened a period of intense political activity. The prospect of a regency meant that suddenly everything was up for grabs. The government would be obliged to resign, and in any new election the influence of the regent was sure to be decisive. The court in waiting surrounding the Prince of Wales prepared to assume power. The opposition Whigs who clustered around him sensed that their moment had come. They began to negotiate for the offices that would surely soon be theirs. The portly Charles James Fox came panting back from holiday in Italy, leaving his mistress behind in a rush. Pitt was reduced to delaying tactics, postponing the inevitable moment when he would be forced to relinquish power. Many government supporters hesitated, unsure whether to leave the sinking ship or try to keep her afloat. Some declared openly for the opposition and campaigned for an immediate regency. Others held back, waiting to see if the king would recover. As Lord Chancellor, Lord Thurnblow played a crucial role. It was he who shuttled between Westminster and the Royal Palace at Kew, where the king was now confined, to report on the king's condition. At first, Thurlow flirted with the opposition, but he scurried back to the government when the king seemed to recover.
Oh wait, where's my glasses? Knocked it over. Okay, it's time to head back now. Yumiko will be done with her work soon enough. We'll go back and I'm working on one of my YouTube channels. I'm getting all of my YouTube ready for my return to Japan. What I'm doing is, first of all, I've already finished most of the work cleaning up my main channel, the softypapa channel. It's looking really good. I got that thing all snazzied up and ready for Japan. I'm going to, but I have secondary channels, a number of them. You know, Abandoned Japan, Real Japan Monsters, Japan Antique Roadshow. The number go on and on. But there's about 5 that are the main ones. And though I don't plan to use those channels in Japan, I am going to consolidate everything on the one channel, and then just use the playlists and themes, you know, for the various channels, for the various videos in those playlists. So I've already done that. I mean, like for example, take Abandoned Japan. I think there's 3 seasons of Abandoned Japan videos on the Abandoned Japan channel, and then maybe another like 100 videos, 100 plus videos of Abandoned Japan on the softypapa channel. You know, the time that I was trying to sort out where those videos belonged. So I've compiled them really nicely. The seasons are very clear on the Abandoned Japan channel, and playlists with those corresponding seasons are on the main channel, so you can find them on both. But the thing is, I'm not going to be uploading them to the Abandoned Japan channel, although I will be doing Abandoned Japan videos back in Japan. I won't upload them to the separate channel. I'll upload them to the main channel and then playlist them accordingly, like I was with all the others. So for weeks now, I've been getting each of the channels ready for the return by making the main channel ready, and then readying all of the, just cleaning up all the other channels. Got them pretty much almost all there. I guess gonna get run over. Most of the work's all done. It's just now a matter of, I'm finishing up now the channel called Japan Antique Roadshow, which was the channel where I did all my, when I was an antique dealer. That's Pacific Coast Highway here. When I was an antique dealer, I would have all the antique that supported my store. All the videos were uploaded there. And boy, what a surprise to look at the analytics. That channel, even though I haven't done anything with it for well over a decade, it just chugs along, getting views, adding subscribers. People watch the videos all the way through. It's amazing. So I'm almost done. I should finish tonight. I'll get home tonight. It's probably pretty close to Yumiko being done with work, and then we can go for the long dog walk. Maybe I'll stop at Trader Joe and get a bottle of wine. Maybe. We'll see. And maybe I'll have the Antique Japan Roadshow done tonight, and that means that this weekend I can get started on the Real Japan Monsters channel. Here. So this is the Pacific Coast Highway, the Huntington Beach Pier. You can just see right over there. A little further. It's about to change. Then we can cross. Good day, good swim. Every evening I come here to swim. Boink. This house has quite the get up. Look at this, how the drinking the. That's funny. Goes all the way through. Well done. Some good decorations here. A big old jack. It's cool, huh? People here grow vegetables on the median here. Here I am. Okay, let's go get a bottle. Find out what time it is first. Yesterday, Yumiko was looking for a bottle. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want it to connect to the car. How can I do that so it doesn't connect to the car? Let me think about this real quick. Ah. Turn it on. Set up. Set up. I think audio. Maybe that fixed the sound, I wonder. I'll have to mark that at the 77-minute mark. Turned off the Bluetooth. That might have done the job. Hey, I see somebody's there. Can you let me know if you can hear this? I had a sound issue before. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Thanks for letting me know, Ice. I had to turn the Bluetooth off. So my swim is done. So now I'm heading home along Main Street. I'm going to stop at Trader Joe's and get a bottle of wine. Yumiko and I can have a little wine with dinner. No, I'll take a shower later. I like the feel of the ocean, so I'm going to get the wine and then I'll go home. And then Yumiko and I will go for a dog walk together. Have dinner. Can't wait for Yumiko's dinner. So Yumiko makes dinner every night, and she makes the best meals. It's pretty much 95% of the time Japanese food. Every so often she'll make something that's not Japanese. So good chance in the autumn weather is here. The Indian summer is passing, so it's a real good chance we'll have some delicious Japanese food for dinner. Can't wait. And then I've got tomorrow off. I took the day off so that I can go do one of my AI presentations. You know, I've kind of made myself I've self-appointed myself as an AI teacher, and I've advertised classes. I give out free classes to people on artificial intelligence, and I'm doing one tomorrow for a service group here in Los Angeles. I'm really looking forward to it. If that goes well, then I'll solicit more groups like that. Now they've got a special spot here for senior parking. I could park there, but I don't feel quite enough like a senior. Recently I've learned a lot about Korean food, really. Now, they don't allow filming inside this place, so I'll take you guys with me, but I have to keep the camera down. You can't be looking around. They can't know that I'm filming. Here we go. Hey there. What's going on, man? Good. How you doing? That wine's even cheaper than that Charles Shaw.
Oh yeah, 322.
Wow. There you go. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
Thanks, man. You too.
Now that's a cheap bottle of wine. Less than $3. That's a hell of a cheap bottle of wine. $2.99. That'll do the job. Sorry I had to keep you guys on the down low there. Trader Joe's doesn't allow filming inside. Okay, let's head home. Okay, it's 5:57. By the time I get home, Miko should be ready for a walk. Tadaima. Hi, boys. Hi, Mama. Yeah. Woof, woof, woof. Come on, boys. Daddy. Tadaima. Ollie. Rudy. Rudy. Come here, Rudy. My little Rudy boy. Rudy boy, come here. Addie, come here. Addie, Rudy. Come here, Rudy. Addie, come here. Woo, 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 woo. We want to go for you know what soon? Pretty soon? Yeah. Happy little doggy. Yeah, we'll go soon. We'll go soon. Okay. Have to check something here. Oh, no kidding. So it only does it that way. That's good to know. Yeah, very happy, happy dogs. Let me check something here. Right, Rudy. Right. This short. Come say hi to everybody. This is my little Rudy boy. Say hi. He's ready for a walkie, huh? You ready now for a walkie? Okay, I'm gonna work, see if, So no. Greg came through with notes. All right, good feedback from Greg. Good job on him. Have to get back with that. Ready for a walk? Okay. Okay, well, guys, it's time for us to go for a walk. Thank you for joining me for a nice long session at the beach. That was fun. Good swim. Now I'll go for a walk with the wife, have some dinner, some wine, all that stuff. Yeah, I'll have a shower a little later. Take care. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye. Make it a Wabi-Sabi day. Hey, I like that. Take care.